Hello, welcome to News Centre. I'm Parikshit Luthra. The government's Make in India initiative has transformed India from a mere consumer market to a global manufacturing powerhouse. The initiative's measures that streamline regulations has driven manufacturing in all sectors by attracting foreign investment. A government report accessed by CNBC-TV18 highlights that global auto majors like Suzuki and Honda, as well as homegrown brands, have already used the incentives at hand to make in India and also consider India an export hub. That's not all. Global tech, pharma and even fashion brands have been betting on India, boosting their exports as well. To take this discussion forward, I'm now joined by Kalyani, Chairman and Managing Director at Bharat Forge. Thank you very much for joining us on the show today. Mr. Kalyani, let me begin by asking you, would you say that since the Make in India initiative was launched way back in 2014, today India has reached its breakout moment in manufacturing?
Yeah, I think it's a point of inflection that we have reached as a country. And with the growth that we see in the GDP projected going forward, you know, it's like what happened in Germany after World War II, what happened in Japan, what has happened in Korea and lately in China. You know, this is India's moment in the manufacturing sector. Already we are seeing very steep growth that is taking place in the export of manufactured products. The automotive industry is growing at a fairly fast clip. The defense industry is now open to the private sector. That's creating a lot of opportunities. And you have all this work that's going on infrastructure. So clearly, it's a big point of inflection.
Right. Give us a sense of some of the sectors, Mr. Kalyani, and you've been on several government committees to encourage manufacturing through incentives and also through non-fiscal incentives. Give us a sense of areas where you expect the industry to put up more capacity. What about specifically on the auto sector front? We are an auto sector manufacturing powerhouse. Exports have been rising for many of the companies. Give us a sense of how we are likely to see capacity expansion going forward.
You know, if you look at the auto sector and of course, along with the auto sector, the auto component sector, and if you look at between now and 2047, which is, let's say, the benchmark date for India at 100, I would expect the auto sector to reach somewhere in the region of 30 million four-wheelers compared to the 3.5, 4 million that we are at today. So we are talking about 8x growth in 25 years. And the component sector will have almost something like a 12x growth in the next 25 years. So it's going to be, the growth is going to be pretty quick and pretty fast. The problems with growth are you're going to make sure that you have enough talent available, skilled manpower available, because the entire growth is going to come with different technologies, different technical processes. There's a lot of electrification that is going on in the automotive industry. Manufacturing is going to get digital. And, you know, we have to make sure that we get that part of the system right.
Right. In this challenging geopolitical environment where there are two wars going on, there are superpower rivalries at play, how can India continue growing in a sustained manner? And what's the role that India can play in global manufacturing?
You know, there are a couple of reasons why India is going to play a fairly big role in global manufacturing. One is in the Western world, whether it's Europe or whether it's the United States, there's a huge shortage today of manpower, trained manpower. It's very difficult if you want to set up a plant, very difficult to find trained manpower, trained engineers for that kind of a thing. So a lot of people are now moving their production out of their countries into India. Earlier it used to go to China, but I think that story is kind of moving and shifting towards India and some of the other Southeast Asian countries. I think with whatever Prime Minister Modi has done to position India as a country where investments are welcome, we have our Commerce Minister, Mr. Piyush Goyal, traveling around, trying to get industries to come and invest here, trying to source things here. I think, if you just look at the data on exports of manufactured products, we are seeing a growth of something like 20-25% year on year taking place. So clearly, the tailwinds are there. I think one issue that still needs to be sorted out is reforms at the level of states. Some of the states are doing better than other states. But I think if the states can join the bandwagon of the center in reforming things that are required to reform and get the manufacturing sector more competitive, you will see a much faster growth in this sector.
Right. Mr. Kalyani, I'd also like to ask you about the PLI schemes. All the measures on the ease of doing business front that we have undertaken since 2014, including those 13 or 14 PLI schemes, how have they contributed to manufacturing and setting up of capacity? Because many of the capacities are yet to come up because of those PLI schemes as well.
See, most of the PLI schemes are focused towards the new technologies. I want to get a PLI if I am expanding my forging business, for example. Okay. If you are going to make components for electric vehicles, you're going to make those kind of things, the PLI scheme is applicable. We have also applied because as any industry who is in the supply chain of automotive, you have to start looking at the whole electrification strategy, the EV strategy, what components you would make for those kind of products. So those products will come under the PLI scheme. And that's a good scheme because I think you can take better and bigger bets with that scheme instead of taking the whole risk head on yourselves, because nobody knows how the EV game is going to get played out. You heard in the US, the big auto OEMs are now pulling back on their EV investments because somehow the demand momentum is not as high as they thought. But PLI scheme helps
that
there.
Indeed is an important point. Right. My final question to you would be, what are some of the challenges that you see here onwards? Of course, India's image from an economy where there is very strong consumer demand to one which can be a manufacturer for the world, that is the image we have today. But in terms of our 2047 goals, how does India grow from here? The challenges that you see, and also the rivalry with China. We don't see a clear policy of any country vis-a-vis China right now. US, UK, it seems to be issue-based. The relationships are dynamic. How do you think we should take this competition from China and grow sustainably in a safe manner over the next 20 to 30 years?
India has no options but to focus on innovation and innovative manufacturing. We can't do manufacturing the old ways. We have to bring in digital technology in our manufacturing. We have to innovate new products. We have to do things exactly what the Atmanirbhar Bharat philosophy says. And once you do that, then I think in the next 10, 12 years, you will be ahead of most of these countries. And India has the potential to get ahead of most of these countries just on its innovative capability. Today, we are innovating for OEMs around the world. We're not innovating for ourselves. If we just change that whole scenario and start innovating for ourselves, then I think the whole picture will be very different.
Right. Innovation is the key for sustained growth. Thank you very much, Mr. Kalyani, for joining us on the program and giving us your view on the breakout moment for Indian manufacturing. We're going to take a short break at this point, but when we return, we will continue this discussion on India's manufacturing ambitions with Manish Sharma of Panasonic and also J.D. Patil of L&T.